everybody. Hi, I'm PinkAppleJam,
And I am the Raggedyman.
and we are once again opening the gates of the mighty fortress, super fortress even, hardcore Genki, to give our breakdown of television, of film, and geekery that's caught our eyes and minds in April.
And then at 4 p.m, there will be the running of the artists as we unlock the creative corner and release a games maker and a cosplayer on you.
They're not ready, are they?
Well,
They're
no,
not ready.
they still got an hour to go.
No, our viewers won't be ready for what hits them. That's what I'm trying to say. Never mind.
I am going to hide away from that one.
Meanwhile, in the movies.
Amazing.
I am so squish.
Still funny. So we're gonna start off with it. So we want to put a band called Death up in your face. This is a documentary directed even by Mark Christopher Convino and Jeff Howlett, and this stars the Hackney family. So the entire documentary tells the story of Bobby and Dennis and three black kids in Detroit. They formed a proto-punk band, released one single, one album, and they failed to change the world in 1975. So that band split, that time was forgotten, and then they were rediscovered in the late 2000s to get the respect and recognition their music had always deserved.
It is a wonderful film. I cannot overrate it enough. It is just joyful in the way it handles its subject. It's a bunch of, I don't want to say kids, but at the time they were kids, making music. It's described as proto-punk, which I think is very interesting because punk didn't exist. They just got stuck into it and they were like, right, they were originally a funk band and then they saw, I believe it was The Who, and they went, no, we need to be playing this. And they're getting all aggro and they're getting all up for it. And yeah, it's kind of like they were a little bit before their time and a little bit in Detroit in the wrong place. And they were black kids, so they weren't picked up by the white scene, and the black scene was like, what the hell, you're playing like white kids and all that. And it was just really interesting, but it was also really interesting because it showed the world of professional working musicians, because all the band, even after they stopped being this band, they still carried on being professional. They didn't have, like session musicians and playing reggae and all that and still carrying on, which I thought was really interesting, on top of the fact that they're just this really cool group of people.
They were so ahead of their time, putting their stride in trying to get music executives to listen to them. And I think they got to a stage where they circulated their demo around so many people, and they got to one producer that were going to take a chance on them, but they wanted them to change their name from Death to something more palatable for a 1975 audience. And the band refused. The main brother was like, no, you get Death or you get nothing. This is what we is. It's and it is testaments to everything that they stood for, that they believed in. The name came after an epiphany. I understand the lead singer perhaps came to. Do you want to skip? So you've got, it's all on a loop, I suppose, but that was the newer version, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
So it is extraordinary. So it was like a tale of passion, and they were only surrounded by disbelief. And that creative heartbreak of people not getting what they were trying to achieve is so real. I think even if you're not a creative person, or you don't make music but you enjoy and appreciate it, you will be able to get behind this, don't you think?
I think so. Yeah, it is part of it is a story about redemption, because it's very obvious from the fact that there's a movie about it that this band that got absolutely nowhere and everyone forgot about it has got a movie about it. So it's not really spoilers to say that there was like a redemptive arc to it, but so much of it was just this determination and this passion and this getting on with it and not giving a damn and making their vision.
Yeah, and making their vision not be diluted.
Yeah, but
standing up for their vision.
But it was also just this wonderful story about this family and this supportiveness, and even when they do their they do then go and get out there and tour and have the success that they deserve, although deserve is obviously a pretty tricky phrase to put in the creative industry. It's just really enjoyable to watch, and their attitude is really pleasant. They're just really nice people, and they just want to do their music, and they just want to have they want to do their thing and have a good time, which is so cool.
So to let everybody know, the full album has been released in its entirety.
Yes.
About a decade ago. You can buy it on CD, vinyl, MP3. You can stream it. You can view it, and it's a great album. I think kids today would probably view it as an EP because there's 9 tracks on it, but that's how long an album was. 4 on one side, 5 on the other.
That's an album.
That's a full album.
That's 100%. A full album.
It's a full album, and you can get it for about £7. So it's absolutely well worth it.
It's 2.5, 3 minute long. Pretty. It's not quite punk. It's quite hard rock. It's pretty intense. There's a couple of tracks that are quite blasty.
Quick. It's political. It's angry, but it's still quite poetic, and it still has a good funk to it. But it's just so interesting how it preempted everything, and we're so used to the sound now. Whereas I think in 1975 nobody was, let alone from a non-white band. So
it also showed how much breaking big is luck.
100% luck.
These people were active and playing around the same time as Bad Brains, who were a major linchpin of the hardcore punk scene, and they were a all-black band who started out playing funk, and then they heard a tune and they went, right, we've got to go and play something heavy. So these two were very, they were on exactly the same wavelength, and one of them's gone down as legendary, and one from the moment they started, and one's gone down as here's a little bit of obscure. But it also just shows, just because people aren't getting your stuff now doesn't mean they won't get it in the future, and doesn't mean that you're wrong. If you're picking up on something, it could just very well be in the water. You could just be in the wrong place, and that sucks. But you can still be proud, and you can still be happy, and you can still, more importantly, one day break through, and that will be great. So
absolutely. Cool. And it was definitely a 20th century thing, because obviously now 21st century we're used to these sounds. It wouldn't be, I don't envision it would be so hard, but technically it wouldn't happen nowadays. But at the time, everything was so generalized. They were told, can you soften it a little bit? Everybody's disco, and they were like, no, this is our rock album.
No, soft, only hard.
The terminology proto-punk didn't exist. They just wanted to take a heavy album. Yeah.
It to me, it was the joyful part of heavy. It's not that it wasn't angry; it's that it was positive. So
it's energetic for sure.
Yeah,
like,
I love the album. I love the power.
Yeah. Powerful is a great word to describe it.
To then see the family and see the background of it, and them still have that positivity. Yeah. And there's rocky stuff on the way.
Yeah. Now the entire story is like full circle, isn't it? And no spoilers, but like the continuation of that legacy in the 21st century. It's just so wonderful. And I mean, however you get to find, they are still touring, which is so wonderful. So I would just share the love and seek out this documentary. You will be energized by it. I mean, you might also have tears in your eyes, but overall you will be energized, I think.
Overall, you'll have a good time. Speaking of good times.
Thunder Force. So Thunder Force turns up like 13 years after the first superhero movie parody film. So like, okay, a little late to the party. We've got
a little late.
Tiny bit. We've got Melissa McCarthy and we've got Octavia Spencer, and they're joining forces to be superpowered and middle-aged women, and they fight against the amazingly loathable Bobby Cannavale, and they get it on.
He's so good. He's so good.
And you get it on with the crab-handed Jason Bateman. What a great phrase. And this
He's literally, when you see it come through, he's literally got clap hands.
crab hands.
Yeah.
And this is a huge headline movie from Netflix, and the intent was to rock the world.
It
Over to you,
was.
Andy.
I think after watching it, it was amazingly okay.
Oh,
I honestly, when I saw it, there was so much in it that I wanted to love, and that I thought could have been brilliant if they'd maybe gone through the script once, maybe
had
twice.
someone tweak it and polish it and shine it.
Needed to be reworked.
Yeah.
There was when it was good, the fundamentals were fine, and when it was good, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
But it was so underbaked.
It lacked any kind of punch, pun intended, because of
Yeah.
that screenshot. So it was a really funny buddy comedy. It was clearly aimed at a female audience, and the theme was the superhero theme. It wasn't written by a team that specialized in the superhero genre, I felt, and it was 100% advertised as a cape film. And considering how polished and stylish Marvel and DC films have been for the past 15 years since the MCU began, like the fact that there's such little emphasis on this female friendship rekindling of women in their 40s as this primary focal point, like I don't know. I just felt like we're going to hit the cape market, and it's like, but that's literally not what the film's about.
Yeah, it missed so much. It failed to hit as a cape movie. It failed to hit its potential as a buddy comedy. It failed, I thought, other than hitting a couple of beats. I didn't think it worked that well as a women in their middle age comedy.
I don't know. I mean, I am
I laughed. I'm not going to say otherwise.
I enjoyed it. I have seen a couple of shitty comments online going, "Oh, it's just Ghostbusters all over again." But bearing in mind that I really loved that film, and that film got a lot of shtick. This film has got a similar shtick, but because it wasn't based on a franchise, it would just get hello Gaga. It would get the same kind of irksome comments.
That's inevitable because dickhead's gonna dickhead.
Yeah, I guess so.
And that's sickening, and I'm not gonna
fair
make
enough.
any kind of apology for that kind of thing. I just think it's bullshit.
It's another film that kind of got trampled on by marketing misdirection. Like if you advertised it as a buddy slapstick, with the underlying theme as being superhero, I don't know. I guess because so much of it was based around the look and the style and the feel of superheroes.
They got an incredibly good trailer out of it. Melissa McCarthy, they landed with something that looked of the moment. The fact that they had a couple of people who've been in Marvel movies in it, that made it a lot more of the moment. But I mean, there was an amazing scene where Bateman, whose character has literal crab hands, is getting it on with McCarthy, who doesn't, where she starts putting crab meat seasoning on his hands, and that's so wrong. And all their scenes were amazing, and that was what wound me up. Their scenes were brilliant because they ran with the absurdity.
They were so strong. They were so strong because they were taking it so seriously as well, which just made it even funnier.
And the rest of it,
I don't know that. You got Melissa McCarthy and you've got Octavia Spencer, who is a great actress, but in this film she really wasn't in a comfort zone, and unfortunately it showed. It just felt like there wasn't much passion, but I also understand her character is supposed to be the cool, calm, collected half of this odd couple, but even that character's daughter showed more energy and go for it kind of feelings that you latched onto. But
if you're the second half of a double act that is the premise of this movie, you have to have an energy, and you can have an energy without being loud like McCarthy. She didn't feel comfortable in the movie, like you said.
No, but
And I've
I
seen
was
her in
happy.
other stuff, and I refuse to say
Exactly.
that it's
Like
because she's
classic,
bad.
proper classic films, yes.
I
So I would
just
watch
think
this film. Sorry, Andy, you go.
no, I just think it got overhyped. It did not, for me, land half as well as the potential it had within it. That's what I'm
Mm,
saying. I'm not disappointed in it compared to anything else. I'm disappointed in itself compared to what it could have been itself.
I guess so. But if you enjoy Melissa McCarthy movies, much like if you like Adam Sandler movies,
She is our
watch
Adam
it.
Sandler. We will watch
Yeah,
it.
you know, if you enjoy her antics, the slapstick and female friendship films, you know, give it a go. Don't expect much and you'll be pleasantly surprised. But I agree that we just felt a little bit sad that it didn't quite hit the mark.
Yeah.
But moving on. Another
Moving on.
Netflix film, Thing, Palm Springs.
Palm
Palm
Springs.
Springs. So, welcome to the wedding that never ever ends. So, Andy Samberg and Kristen Milioti experience the same day again and again and again. So, it's Groundhog Day for these two, but with multiple people involved and enough indie credentials, never to pack a theatre, but to make it a major coup for Amazon. And this was published as part of their Prime package. So this was random. Look colourful. We enjoy Andy Samberg's comedy. We went, let's give it a go.
It was absolutely worth a punt. I wasn't sure about it. I'd heard some of the heat that had happened with it on Hula, but it sounded a really indie snooze fest when I first heard the mumblings about it. But it was absolutely worth it. It is just funny. And one of the biggest reasons is because Samberg Melito have this amazing chemistry in it, and the film focuses on that and on the really human behavior. It is inevitably going to get compared to Groundhog Day because it's a similar premise, but the way it approaches it is so much more, I want to say, pleasant. Neither of them are bad people going into it. They're average people. So it's about an average person having a reaction rather than a bad guy redeeming themselves. And those two just totally sold it.
I mean, all the characters are flawed, aren't they? You know,
they're all flawed.
But, you know, they have, you said it explores human behavior, you know.
Yeah.
And that comes with the good and the bad. But there is character growth, and that, you know, they do have gumption, and it is a comment about getting stuck in the same cyclical life situations, but, you know, being able to break out of it and changing something.
Yeah.
Whether you're stuck in a time loop or not, you know. And there's so many threads to talk about, like what if this, what if that. It's a real good pub movie, I think. You could talk about it for a long time, and all the parallel universe theories. I mean, could this be a time travel film that Andy likes?
No, because it's not a time travel movie. No, it's not a time travel movie.
Okay.
Therefore, I like it. There's no chain of causality getting broken. But one of the things I absolutely love about it is, unlike similar movies, this really addresses the philosophy of it, including the negative, like the nihilism, the futility, and just this whole, if you relive the same day, because it's implied that Samberg's been around for about 40 million, he's gone through 40 million years worth of this. Just all the stages you go through of utterly losing your shit, and then being chill with it, and it on a I'm not going to claim it's like classic philosophy, but on a philosophical level, it actually gets quite interesting. And the reactions to it, as I said, I thought were very true and very honest. And there is some duplicity, is it? And there's also, as you said, there's a lot of character growth.
Yeah, when they do muck up, they do apologize at least and learn from it.
Yeah,
which is so reassuring. You know, you just see these types of, you know, goofy characters. But Andy Samberg does that quite well, I think, with his characters anyway. Maybe not Lonely Island stuff, but definitely his character in 9/9. But I felt it's not really like a usual Andy Samberg thing. Like, it contains an appropriate amount of Samberg gurning for regular fans. So he does play his regular shtick, but it doesn't alienate anyone. There are good levels of realism in there as well, I think, to keep you to keep your attention.
And it's got a wonderfully ambiguous plot. I'm a huge fan of, with this kind of movie, I'm a huge fan of intentional ambiguity within it. Because for something that is designed almost to be talked about afterwards and to really itch at your head, adding in that extra layer of uncertainty to me makes it a lot more fun, because you can unpack it in one way and then repack it and do it in another way. It just adds to it. I thought it was really cool. And one of the reasons we put them up is because these both popped up at about the same time. And this is Amazon and Netflix going head to head. And I think Amazon won this weekend because it was so different. I don't know what the viewing figures were, but if Amazon's going to be going to be buying up interesting indie stuff like this, I think they could be getting a lot more interesting than Netflix.
That kind of traction would definitely set it apart anyway. Because we were saying the other day that Amazon's got a lot more B-movie and documentary kind of nonsense on it, whereas Netflix is, bargain basement of blockbuster from 20 years ago sometimes, and that doesn't necessarily mean good. So yeah,
Netflix has got either like the real headline stuff or the bargain basement stuff. It doesn't have the mid-range stuff, and Amazon is doing really nicely with that.
It's got so much mid-range stuff because Amazon have got a habit of putting a price bolt on to things that are headline. And if you've already got a Prime account and a Netflix account, I don't know, I kind of resent having to pay another couple of quid on top just to see one film once, and I don't even own
any. If they're going to be throwing this stuff at us, then that'll make me more keen. It was pretty interesting.
Definitely.
But wrong one. I've got so many buttons to hit.
Meanwhile, on TV.
So many. I'm gonna have to teach you the buttons.
Yeah, I'm doing the comments.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're going to talk about Crime Scene, The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel. So it's this month in Real People Who Died. We watched the shit out of Netflix about it. So this series is about the tragic disappearance and the death of Eliza Lamb at the Cecil Hotel in LA, or Cecil. I'm not sure. Americans pronounce it differently to us.
Incredibly spooky hotel in LA that's got
so spooky, and how wild speculation from the internet screwed so many things up about it, and it also almost killed a Mexican death metal musician.
Yeah.
Like, what? Absolutely.
So you watched the crap out of this. So let's go with your thoughts first.
I thought it was going to be one of those horrifically long series like The Staircase, but yeah, which we haven't finished watching because it's so horrifically
We can't
long.
care.
No. Whereas this one, after one episode, lured us in. We checked how many episodes there was, and there was 4? And I'm like, I can handle that. That's fine. Let's do this. Let's do 4. So what did you think, Andy?
What did I think?
Yeah,
I thought it was interesting. I wasn't too hyped for it at the start because I read some of the reviews before committing myself to it because I can't be doing anything else but these days. And then it was interesting. I thought it was very interesting. Some of it was going about the investigation of this tragic death, but a lot of it was about the media circus that erupted around it, which was as perplexing as the actual mystery. If you get what I mean, you had people because you did have this bizarre death. There were scenes in it. Like one of the things they had was that footage from the elevator, where she was just being really strange in an elevator. There's no other way of putting it. It was like she was being attacked and she was worried she was being stalked and all that. And people were making this whole kerfuffle about it. And because you had the history of the Cecil on top of it, which is like it's notorious for all these deaths and that.
I'm going to say the notoriety of the Cecil.
No, because it's a hotel that's been in LA for several decades and it's really cheap. Like some of Sam's killer stayed there for a while. Richard Ramirez, previous as to what all that was about.
But yeah,
it was just interesting, and the way that the social media people about the whole thing just got it so wrong, and just knackered any reasonable investigation by getting these ideas and refusing to give up on them, even if all the evidence went, nah, that's bollocks.
it's almost like the internet's fan theories about what they wanted the canon to be
Yeah,
was the driving force. So it really did show. I mean, it started off with this tragic disappearance, and then it went off the rails regarding when the police released the footage to ask about what happened to the internet. And I'm going to say relatively early Web 2.0 internet.
mm,
And then it basically, the internet, it ran away with it. And it's so telling of internet culture and how it rolls out of control just at the expense of actual people, real people. And lessons really should be learned from it, from the middle
Yeah.
of this documentary, because it just showed how everything that everybody was so stuck on being true was completely false and derailed it, as you said. It also, this show, it also feels like it's been on Netflix longer than it has, but it
but it went in
only
February.
went live in February, so that's what, 8-9 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Really, which is a bit odd. So I suppose it just goes to show how many of these types of films Netflix has on its service.
I think it also shows how many get hidden away from you, so it
That's
doesn't
true.
overload you with everything. But with regards this thing, one of the key elements of it is someone found out that a death metal musician had stayed there. Ooh. And then they proceeded to make his life hell by going, "You murdered her, you murdered her, you murdered her."
And
then
that was only based on the assumption of some lyrics from a song.
he was he did a lot of really gory death metal singing and lots of music about death and Satan and all that. And
As
he
you do.
visited the hotel and he went, "Oh, this is where the son of Sam had stayed. Oh, spooky." And they found the video of him in the hotel, and then they went, "Ooh, he was there the time that she was. Ooh, he killed her." I mean, they only got him being there wrong by a year.
An entire year. So
An
the
entire
internet
year.
created a lynch mob against this musician, got his Facebook page banned,
Wrecked his life.
wrecked his career for sure, and ended up wrecking his mental health.
His mental health.
Because nobody would listen to him.
Yeah.
And I think he just had to lie low.
Yeah.
And he's only just started coming out of that self-imposed exile. Well, let's say self-imposed because I don't think he had much choice with
He was hiding in terror from a lot of
behaviour.
people threatening to kill him because they hadn't checked the updates on the internet. They literally saw a bit of taupe doing the rounds and went, right, he's obviously still the murder bunny. Let's go get him.
Absolutely. So
At the same time as this, you've got a bunch of happenings in the incident in the story that are quite peculiar, that are quite strange. You've got this tale of the fear of mental illness totally screwing over people's lives because nothing supernatural happened, and everyone was convinced it was because, like, their family just didn't want to admit their kid had mental health issues.
it was a worry. It was so concerning, and I thought it was quite telling that somebody's sister was talking about them instead of the parents. So I think it just overall, this documentary, the treatment of people with mental / neurological issues, it was just so telling. Like, on one hand, if people are acting irrationally, surely the best thing first to ask is, are they okay? And then if they can't answer, or if they're not okay, then help must be sought for them. But like, so often the latter just doesn't happen. And I'm not going to give away any
ghosts give it.
Pardon?
And don't assume ghosts did it.
Well, yeah. It's just very sad, really. And I just felt quite melancholy after it because I just think maybe a bit more help should have been given.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to say any more than that because it'll give it all away what happened. But it's very fascinating and very sad because it pulls together concisely in 4 episodes so much that happened from this disappearance.
But it does it in a. I thought it was really interesting because the style changes with how it goes. In that it starts with this, oh my god, what's happening? It moves into this ooh, wild speculation, and they get a bunch of nutters on to give talking head bits and bobs, and then it resolves in a way that it tells the story of what happened by almost replicating the story of what happened in its narrative style. So I thought that was pretty cool. But talking things, I'm not going to run I can't be bothered to run the video for this. Right, sit down. It's time for Uncle Raggedy to tell you a story. Oh, God. This one, you need to run the comment section on this, because once I get going on this. So it is.
Do you want me to introduce it, or
it's the sixth season of the gritty series about gritty anti-corruption police officers in the gritty made-up town. They have magnificently and grittily jumped the goddamn shark so hard. I cannot express, having watched this season for so long, I cannot express how angry I am with what it's done this season, because there's this whole season 6 or whatever it is. It was amazing. Right, so number 1. Episode 4. A convicted criminal is secretly escorted from prison to a secret location where they are to be given to give evidence in a corruption case in return for witness protection outside of the prison system. So basically, you come here, you give this evidence, we'll let you go free. That is something that would absolutely need to be approved by the Home Secretary. It's basically political dynamite. It is huge. The armed response convoy of 10 officers gets ambushed by a whole bunch of criminals with assault weapons. This is in the UK. The criminals have assault weapons. A police officer gets killed. The police get their ass handed to them in the plate. It is going to be the single largest non-terrorist shootout in British police history. As a result of this, the witness then decides not to give evidence because he's too shit scared. And the next day, they're found hung in their cell back in the prison. And the reaction of everyone involved is, well, there's obviously no corruption at all. And there's nothing, and all this happened completely coincidentally. And that super secret thing that, yeah, nothing happened. So yeah, you've got no case. It's like, that's bad. That's really bad. That is awful police storytelling for a show that is all about, oh, look at us, we're really serious and we're really mature and we're really realistic. Because this is just like, yeah, by the way, you know, the SAS want to talk to you about what happened because we've just, you know, there's like 12 fully automatic weapons running around and this is horrific. That was bad. The next episode was even worse. They took the killing of Stephen Lawrence, Stephen Lawrence at the hands of a racist gang of youths, and they took the death of Christopher Adler in police custody following a racist attack. These are two real life events, highly contentious, highly emotive subjects. Are you grabbing that comment or am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very bad. It was, yeah, so bad. They took these two real life events. No mention of these ever before. They then welded them together into this Lawrence Adler character that had come out of absolutely nowhere. And suddenly it was a gestalt of the two in real life incidences presented as this plot point from nowhere, essentially for a black officer to then go, yeah, that was a terrible thing and I feel bad for the police because the police did bad. Now, they had done real life stuff in the past, like mentioning U-Tree and having some stuff similar to things what had happened. But this, I was so angry. This was just like, the name of that character was, to me personally, it was just, no, it's too on the nose. It's too, I don't know what they were thinking.
I thought you said he was called Lawrence Stephen. That's why I
no, Stephen Lawrence was the person who died. They then made this gestalt where they took the front of Christopher Adler, and then they took the top of they glued the two names together.
I got you. Okay.
I don't know, and I was just, what are you doing?
Like,
This
it's
is
offensive. It's not even clever. It's just stupid. Therefore, it's offensive.
if they had, if they, yeah, I could list 101 ways that they could make it not offensive and still have impact. But they went for this so blunt an approach after so blunt an approach previously. And this is supposed to be the this is the prime time cop drama that everyone's talking about. And that was just so angry. I don't know if I can be asked to watch the rest of it now. And I've watched the rest of all the other seasons.
I mean, what did you
and
say?
it drove me mad.
6 seasons.
This is the
of
6th
this.
season. It's about
This is
six.
the 6th season.
Yeah.
So, like, I've got nothing to add to what I think about all the seasons because I've literally not seen any episodes, any series whatsoever. So I was watching it out of interest. I'm like, oh, this is a long-running series Andy's into. Let's, while I'm doing some sewing or whatever, let's just watch this while it's on TV. And it just felt like a weird British police fan fiction. And coming into it in this current season makes zero sense. So it's impenetrable for new watchers because it makes it look like it's a parody. So, like, apparently it's more engaging for people that have watched season 1 right from the start. Like, there's lots of things woven into it. So, as an outsider, the advice I'm just going to relay is that I've heard binge it from the start.
All 30 hours.
It just feels like so inaccessible. It's like how comics were in the 90s. And, British television is in competition with English language speaking shows globally.
Yeah.
Let alone America, who've been doing cop shows since Kingdom Come. And I honestly thought, I'm like, and this is what Britain has to offer. It's embarrassing.
It felt like one of those. And yeah, this is a show that has traded on its realism. It has traded extensively on, oh God, on being grittier than a gritty bag of grit. It has traded on this build up of characters. And this real, as I said, this realism, this procedural, there's a lot of lingo and all that. And then they pull this crap. And it's just
it's exhausting. It's embarrassing. It's exhausting, and it doesn't have to be this way.
And
was it rushed?
I don't know if it was rushed. It was just piss weak writing, ridiculous. Oh, as I said, it jumped the shark on that instant because it's like, oh, there's no proof of corruption. Well, how did the 10 armed, how did the 10 criminals with fully automatic weapons know about the convoy to then, that in itself, that one thing that they got ambushed is a massive investigation. That's before you throw in the fully automatic weaponry. And it was just, so yeah, I wanted to rant about it. So I have.
Well done.
Because it pissed me the fuck off.
It really did. But never mind. There was some comedy that launched on Netflix that made you chuckle.
Oh, yes, there was. There was 2 sets of comedy. And the first one was just bloody brilliant. No, not Way of the Bloody Annoying. Here we go. Speak.
No, it's your intro.
No, you speak. I'm doing button mashing.
Oh, fine. Okay, so Way of the House Husband. So Way of the House Husband, from the manga to a TV drama and now to an anime, thanks to Netflix. So Netflix underwriting half of the anime industry. So we've got 5 episodes of this legendary ex-Yakuza member, Tatsu, quote, the immortal dragon, as he was once known. Tatsu is a house husband for his high-powered business wife. And this show includes recipes and cleaning tips.
Literally.
So basically, a former
it's
Yakuza
halfway to a cooking manga.
Yes, I think it falls into one of many categories. Cooking manga is one of them. So as a former Yakuza, he leaves his life all behind to become your everyday house husband. So it's not easy to walk away from this gangster life and what should be mundane household tasks are anything but with this show. So it made you laugh, didn't it?
It made me laugh my ass off. It is very clearly a parody of Japanese gangster tropes. So the books, the movies, the TV shows, the comics. So I think a number of the gags flew over my head because I'm not indoctrinated into that world, so I can't see them. But even then, the setup of it is preposterous, and the earnestness of it is just so funny. He does everything like a hitman. Like, the shopping is a precision drill. Cleaning is, he does it like he's just killed someone in the lounge and now he's got to make the body disappear, that kind of stuff. And just constantly referring to his wife as the boss.
Boss lady.
Boss lady. It is so... It is not trying to be realistic, but it has got a certain kind of... There's a certain baseness to it, but a certain amount of... Yeah, I just thought it was bloody hilarious. I laughed my ass off.
Well,
I
the
didn't
books
care I
are
didn't
out
get
if
half of it.
If you want to read them, because there's 4 published in English at the moment. So let's get them in front of the camera
that's good.
there. So basically, it's created by Kosuke Ono, and Kosuke Ono began his professional manga career in 2016 in the anthology Monthly Comics Bunch. This is actually his follow-up series, Way of the House Husband, and it's his first serialization, and it's his first English
gold
manga release. It is gold. It genuinely makes me laugh. There's some really funny lines, facial expressions, situations. And then when I heard that there was going to be, an anime release, I was like, yes, finally in this pandemic, something good came about of it.
It's also, and this absolutely won me over. It's based around a functional relationship.
Well, isn't it nice to see that functional relationship, that extreme respect? It's a non-traditional family setup. Like, they don't have kids. Maybe they will in the future. Don't know. Nothing's alluded to it. They look after kids that come across their path, and they're animal lovers. The cat's expression, particularly, is
the cat is an
very
absolute
funny,
star,
and they've
star
included
player.
those exact same expressions from the books into the anime.
She appreciates his work. He appreciates her work. It could very easily have been purely taking the piss out of the obvious gender reversal role.
It's not even mentioned, is it?
There's a couple of bits which are working off the housewife cliche as opposed to the house partner, the housewife cliche.
It's so forward thinking in that respect. Yeah.
Most of it is just the ridiculousness of it. So it doesn't come across as horribly sexist. Now,
no.
Give it 5 years, give it 10 years, we'll look back at it and we'll just be like, oh my God, this is horrific. But for now, it is pretty damn solid. And what did you think about the art?
So the animation style, it was criticized by people for being too flat because it's more of a slideshow, like only the key frames are animated. You've got sound effects coming in, the mouths move. You don't actually see any motion. It's frame by frame. But that was apparently an intentional choice to help reflect the look of the comic book frames exactly, to pay homage to the books. So, and I read somewhere, someone on the team said for some scenes, it might have actually been easier to animate the action, as opposed to having these flash style 2D animation things. That worked fine. It wasn't awful at all. It was extremely funny. I
thought it gave it a wonderful edge.
Yeah. Well, it did make it look very different to everything else that's out there, for sure.
Because what was the other one we started watching recently with all the masks? Teenage school slaughter, fan service.
High-rise invasion.
High-rise invasion.
Yeah.
Looked very generic. It's got panty shots and death, so it's selling an absolute ton. But the animation of it, the character, not the designs, but the styling and the shaping of everything the shots within it were pretty generic. This looked totally its own thing.
Yeah, it does. And the dub was good. It worked well. It carried over those intricacies of Yakuza type gags and just did a generic gangster thing without it losing its edge, I think. And I just think that we should be glad that something, even if it is considered a bit flat, that something funny and weirdly wholesome like this got made in a blooming pandemic,
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Darlo.
Hey, Darlo.
Good to see you. But yeah,
Good evening, Darlo's World.
top
Yeah.
top recommendations from us today.
But yeah, from the ridiculous to the ridiculous.
Pui Pui Molcar. So this is
This won my heart over.
It did.
It's absolutely it. I can only say it won my absolute adoration for greatest thing ever.
Look at them. They're so cute. So Pui Pui Molcar is new. It's from Netflix and it's TV Tokyo Network. There's 12 lots of 2-minute long stop motion stories in this world where actual people, models of people and footage of people drive around in gigantic guinea pig cars. No, not cars that look like guinea pigs that are cars.
Yes.
It's so weird. So it started off as one of those internet things and it circled around on social media and like suddenly the entire series dropped completely randomly on Netflix. We're like, what a world with the speed of that happens.
We watched it in a day. Well, 2 days.
It's so easy to watch.
They're 2 minutes long, but we had to pause between each of them because we were still laughing.
Yeah, it's so cute. Like it doesn't take any time at all to watch it. There's no subtitles. It's very visual comedy. All ages. Oh, awesome. Yeah, definitely add it to your list. Everybody should. And recommend it for sure.
I only recommend this because it's so silly.
So silly.
It's absolutely surreal. My favorite episode was when all the cars had a party at someone's house. In one of the owners' houses, a whole bunch of cars having a party, which I can't even begin to describe. I don't know. There's so much going on in it, and there's so much visual
realism.
No, it's not just that. It's also the. It's not necessarily the rapidness of it. It's the depth of the humor that really got me.
I think
it was very.
It just go off
all
tangent,
the shots were multi. There were multi layers in most of the shots. There was lots happening in the frame. Lots of little details that just built it into this wonderfully authentic bullshit world. I can't think of another way of putting it.
But it's surreal and it's cute and it's squeaky.
Oh, we got a raw. AL wants to play games.
Thank you.
Thank you. I can only encourage everyone on the planet to watch this, and it's one of those things that it's not really all age. You know, there's that all ages thing, whereas people go, "Oh, this is an all ages film." It's absolute ridiculousness is ageless. There's not something for the kids and something for the adults and blah blah blah. It's just the whole thing. It's just.
Yeah, and there's even some zombies in it, which I wasn't expecting. So yeah.
It's
So yeah, it's so squeaky, and it's digestible enough, a bit like Way the House Husband on me. For our short internet adult attention spans. So like each episode is a little compilation of mini episodes as well.
But
what I wanted to know is like, why is it called Morucar? Like, what is a moru? I know what a car is, but what's a mol? So apparently the Japanese word that's commonly used for guinea pig is morumoto. And this is because in Indonesia, guinea pigs are called marmot. And marmot is also an old Dutch word for guinea pig. So it's a loan word, a bit like how Japan calls bread pan, like melon pan, chocolate pan, etc. So it just adapted that word into its language. So the first part of the loan world, moru and car, is basically like guinea pig car or guinea car or something, I suppose they should call it. But you may also want to know from my research today that the Japanese word for guinea pig is also guineapig and also tenjiku nezumi. And that I think translates to India mouse.
Okay.
I don't know why, but that's what I found out today.
India mouse.
Guinea pig, India mouse.
So
there you go.
Now for something completely different.
Meanwhile, in streaming.
So these quick ones, please shout out join us in. Laura's going to be manning the comments on this.
Yeah.
Those
shout
who
them
don't
out.
know, Manga UK, it was established in 1987. Recently, this month, it got rebranded as Funimation UK because Funimation have gone and bought it out. Oh yes, they have. Yeah, probably did it as a licensing move because Manga UK.
Nobody knows. I just felt that it was so sad that 30 years of branding just got shoved down the toilet. Like, I just find that so weird.
I don't,
I don't
because the
know.
people who made Manga Entertainment UK are laughing all the way to the bank. They make
Maybe.
fat coin. They are having a break from a lot of things. They worked very hard, and yeah, I think it's just really hard to be a small, and by small I mean like a regional provider these days. If you're trying to, because everything's moving to streaming, so if you've got the regional license, great, but you're gonna need the platform, and that technology isn't cheap. And you've then got to, like Lyoko said earlier on, where are we? This comment is perfect for this section. Too many streaming services. You don't want to add another streaming service. So Funimation.
Yes, another. I guess not. But I know. I'm just a nostalgical beast. I just like things to stay the same, which is not progressive.
That's not, but at least you're not one of these people who hasn't bought anything from them for 10 years going, oh my God, why have you sold out? You're such traitors.
Oh, the last thing that, and there's a lot of those types of comments actually on the social media. So I can understand that it must be for distancing, that kind of mindset. Like, when are you going to release,
when you
Fist
give
of
us
the North
money
Star
for it, you
or Cyber
muppets.
City Edo? And it's like, mate, those licenses ran out a long time ago. Like, other distributors. Or you can just import them like we used to have to anyway. Like, that hasn't changed. We still have to import so many titles, so we should be grateful that there's a lot of titles on release.
Yeah. One thing I do want to say about it all. That's how old school I am. I make jokes about their first ever trailer collection.
So good.
So good. Here we go. In other news, hang on, we got a comment.
Yeah, I'm showing it.
A lot of company. Yeah. Oh, AT&T. I didn't know they owned a lot of companies. But yeah, WWE and Crunchyroll, they've teamed up, which is crazy. No one really knows what's going on. They just said that they're going to be making some WWE anime.
Well, why not? I mean, Marvel have done it. DC have done it. Why not WWE?
On the one hand, I agree, why not? But on the other hand, I remember the Saturday morning Superstars of Wrestling cartoon from the 80s. And I want that as an anime. I know it's not going to happen. And I know we're not going to get Sergeant Slaughter and the Big Boss Man and all that lot with their ridiculous. Yes.
I never watched that, but I think I might have to dig that one out.
It was, I think it was Junkyard Dog ended up in it.
Yeah.
I just, the fact they've gone with Crunchyroll is also really weird, because Crunchyroll is still the spry little contender, and I just thought it was an interesting move. But do you think it could be saving the Crunchyroll world? And now they're planning to sell Rooster's Teeth. Ooh, that's the AT&T thing. Cool. So they're probably living off the hog, but I just don't see why Crunchyroll.
Well,
because did Crunchyroll make that much anime? I thought they just bought really weird shit and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and.
Well, they're the number one host. Basically, their history was they were once a torrent site, and then they started simulcasting Naruto back in the day, and they're now a legit site. But they're the biggest, if not the only. No, they're not the only, because of course Funimation is a parallel to it. But they're so much bigger than Funimation, and Funimation just wants to gobble everybody up, I think, to become that equal contender.
But are they producers? The Crunchy. I thought
I
Crunchyroll
don't know. I mean,
didn't
Manga
make the
Video
stuff.
used to fund Ghost in the Shell, and they've co-funded a number of productions. Like Ghost in the Shell wouldn't have been made without Manga Entertainment.
Hang on,
So
we're talking about Crunchyroll.
yes, so my equivalent is Crunchyroll. Have they invested in stuff similarly to that? Maybe that's what they're doing now.
Oh,
then.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I'm just
don't
saying
know.
they're doing the same thing as.
Yeah. It's
So
maybe we'll see what happens. Talking
Yeah.
of money,
oh
have you not heard this amazing bit of news?
no!
This is really interesting. Okay, so Sony have said that they are going to let their Spider-Man MCU movies onto Disney Plus.
What? So
Yes.
exciting! I am
This is-
excited. I really like all the Spider-Mans. Is Spider-Bank?
Yes.
Spider-Bank.
Spider-Man does whatever.
Brilliant. That's great.
I am over the moon because number one, I'm not going to have to get another bloody.
Streaming.
If I ever
service.
want to rewatch any of those, quite frankly, marvelous Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
But it also means Sony aren't making a bloody platform.
Yeah.
I'm fed up with all these new platforms.
Yeah, I'm tired now. Like
I'm tired now.
people don't want to send people back to torrenting, so no.
It's the arseness of it. It's like I freely admit I used the 10-day free trial from Now TV just to watch the Schneider cut. I just couldn't. It wasn't even necessarily the price of sticking with Now TV. It was just the having another bloody channel I'd have to bloody check.
You kind of felt them as
I'm lazy. I
well.
want everything in one place.
Yeah, like Netflix is there, it's on our TiVo.
Yeah.
Amazon is one digit below. You know, you can have all the and Now TV it doesn't have a button on it. Disney, Crunchyroll, yeah, DVD
Yeah.
rental, yeah, it is. Yeah.
I'm gonna stick up for one thing on Amazon at this point. If Now TV turned on, or if Sony turned up as a bolt-on for Disney Plus, I would be more likely to get that than I would be to get Sony's subscription. Like Shudder, I've been thinking of getting Shudder for a while. It's basically a horror streaming service. You can get that as a bolt-on for Amazon. And it's the same. It's going to sound stupid. It's the same price whichever platform you get it on. But I am more tempted to get it through Amazon than I am through Shudder, just so I don't have to have another bloody platform to deal with. I just have my own little subsection. So
Sure. Well, I'm excited.
I'm
watch the Vanishing
excited.
Out again then.
Do you know what else I'm excited for?
What's that, Andy?
I'm excited for Mortal Kombat. Do you know what else about Mortal Kombat?
No, Andy.
No.
Ah, what? Not yet, or not forever, or what?
We don't
What?
know.
Ah,
We do not know. In an
That's so stupid.
amazing, in an absolutely genius move, following a gigantic advertising campaign, the 2021 Mortal Kombat is not available in the UK to stream. It's practically everywhere else it's available. So you can VPN your way to certain other places and stream it. But because the cinemas aren't open in the UK, they haven't released it on streaming. Now, what do you think that's going to make happen?
I think fans are going to do what fandom does, and
It's available absolutely everywhere else, but not in the UK.
well, I just think that's so short-sighted, and there's got to be a good reason for that. Else, that's just stupid.
It's the
Well, no,
dumbest move.
I'm not highlighting that comment. No,
It is
we don't recommend that.
the single dumbest move I have seen, because the statement made in the comments is just going to happen everywhere, and that is money on the table lost. Anyway,
sad. Never mind.
What's that? I hear I hear the seal being open, and the mole men are hurrying people to us.
Meanwhile, in the creative corner.
Yes! Ah, you made it. It's our wonderful creatives.
Welcome.
And today, in the creative corner, I will curate, not break or button off. We have the wonderful. Why is PeskyTimePirates?
Yeah, Pesky's
Oh.
on mute and Code Monkey's on mute, I think. Yep,
I'm
both on
on
mute.
Hello.
Right,
You are muted, just as I am muted, which ended up meaning I was muted.
right. So we have, and I'm going to try and do this the right way. We have Thad, who is a games designer, who is awesome. We have Pesky, who is a cosplayer, who is also awesome. And to start it off, we have PinkAppleJam, who makes comics and is awesome. And she actually just had enough time to do something creative. So,
Brilliant. So, ta-da! So I just wanted to
show
show
your
off
stuff.
my Rezos that I've done for a while ago. So Andy, if you could pop me onto the main screen, because I can show it, the actual things that I've done. So I don't know if you know, but like Risographs are like screen printed photocopiers. I'll send the printer the digital design. I'll send them a black layer, a blue layer, and a red layer, and and this is what comes out. So you can see, because this is pop art based, I've basically made dots, like smaller dots for the lighter tones and bigger dots for the heavier tones, and on the sea as well. But yeah, they just look really shiny, and I never had the opportunity to do this at university. So
Because
from the age of
Risograph costs a
social-
fortune.
I did screen printing, but yeah, that is an expensive way to make such prints. But yeah, you can basically send your digital file off to Risograph printers. I've used two. The first one was Harto Press. Harto is Japanese word for pigeon. I don't know what pigeons have to do with Risus, but I'm sure that they will tell you. But they were so friendly. And I used another printer that was recommended to me recently. Oh, my brain's just gone quite blank. But I'll find the name and put it in the comments afterwards. These they're not going to show up. Oh, look, the lemon's gone. It thinks it's green, but it's not. But basically, we've got fluorescent colours here as well. This is fluorescent yellow and pink, and this has got fluorescent pink. Oh, no, hang on a minute. Coordination fail. Coordination fail. So this has got fluorescent orange and pink and purple line art, and this has got like aqua line art as well. But yeah, I just wanted to show them. They're on my Etsy now, and you know, the A3 size. I think they look really nice. Framed on the wall. It's like just a posh version of a it's a posh print. You know, we have posters, we have digital printouts, but I just think there's something special about Risograph. So I'm so pleased. Duplicate Press, ding, I've just remembered. Duplicate Press were the ones that did the fluorescent Rezos for me. But yeah, I just wanted to show them, so thanks for listening. If you have any questions about Rezos, I can probably answer them now, to be honest.
They're really beautiful prints. I'm really
thank you.
interested in like the technical side of the color profiles.
Mm.
Like fluorescence, you can't have fluorescent on a monitor, right? So most
Yeah.
when they draw digitally are working within like an RGB color scale. How do you do the fluorescent colors?
Oh, so it's quite interesting that I make it up in the vague colors, like a yellow, and I'll know that it will be fluorescent yellow, and a pink and a blue. And then you have to kind of create each layer as if all the colors on that layer would be printed, because that's the end process. But for fluorescent, and when you give the printer your digital files, each of those layers will actually be in black. So even though the shape of it would be black, in the file name, each layer is named after the color, which they have on their website. So that links that layer to the color, and they send you a proof, like a digital proof, like just to make sure that they've got the colors right and everything. Is this what it's going to look like? So yeah, other than kind of envisioning it my side and maybe printing out and putting a highlighter on it to get the vision correct myself, there's a part of me that is really bad at sticking to plans and patterns, and I just kind of like to let's see what happens with this. And the more that you do on a risograph, everything's just a little offset as well. Like old 50s and 60s comics, they used to have plastic plates, and towards the end the colors would just be like so off register, like someone's red hair you know, the line art would be here, but their hair color would actually be over here. And I quite like that as well. Although with the fluorescent ones, if you look too closely, your eyes go a bit funny. But I also think there's a charm in that as well. It's like typical chaotic Laura. Like that's just a really good representation of, I think, how my mind works.
I just like them because they're kind of like, I'm so used to seeing perfect replication these days. Imperfect replication it's just got a feel to it.
It does, as a feel, it has a charm, and no two prints are going to be different, really.
Yeah.
So yes.
No two prints are going to be the same. Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
If anyone else has questions on Risos, I'm determined to get Pesky back on with us. Yes.
I just want to say, Laura, your makeup is on point today.
Ah, thank you.
You are welcome. Loving the lipstick.
Thank you. It's my sugar pill. Sugar pill makeup. I got it in the sale. So it's my first posh makeup as a grown up.
Yeah, never buy anything full price.
And in other news, I am excited to announce we've got a murderer amongst us today, and it isn't me.
Yay!
It is Mr. Thad, who I will now highlight somehow. Yes. Tell us all about your stuff, Mr. Thad, Mr. Code Monkey.
Yay.
So this is Getting Away with Murder, and it's not just me that's the murderer. It could be any one of you. Getting Away with Murder is a role-playing game in which you are in a mansion in like 1955, and each player gets an identity, an alias, which could be one of many characters, and they
Tell me when you want me to move the thread along.
You just move it along as
all right.
As I talk, right?
Okay.
So you get an alias, and you get a motive and some objects and relation, and you discover relationships. So you're drawing from a deck of cards with things, and you draw them into your hand, and then you get to choose which one becomes the truth, and then you role play a scene around that thing, and then after the first act, which is when everyone's had a scene, someone gets murdered, and the murder is discovered in one of several ways, and it has a cause. It could be one of many things. And then you role play through the different motives and relationships of the players around the table, and allocate guilt or innocence depending on how the scene went. And then at the end, the most innocent player, as according to the votes that went through the acts and through the scenes, gets to make an accusation, like in the classic murder mystery trope, where you have like Miss Marple or whoever the detective is announces who is guilty and how they deduced it. And then that person is arrested. And then you reveal your innocence and guilt tokens, which have, like, there's it's guilt, but it also has a number. I'm very good at this. Several numbers. And then you discover, like, did the correct person get accused? And whether or not they get away with murder is largely down to chance.
Oh, so good. So we've got a comment that says it's a bit like Clue, that the werewolf and a few of the game elements.
Clue, also known as Cluedo.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
of course.
Yes, it is. Except unlike werewolf, there isn't like a fixed card that someone has that says, like, I am the guilty person. Right? In werewolf, it's predetermined randomly who is the werewolf or who will be the werewolves. In Getting Away with Murder, it's kind of decided by the group through the storytelling. So it's a what's called a free form narrative read role playing game. It's GM-less. There's no like dungeon master, games master. So on each person's turn, effectively, what what you role play becomes the truth of what happened. So if you say, well, like, well, then I clock him in the face and he falls down, then that's what happened. So it's quite a, like, it's more of a collaborative storytelling experience than a kind of a competitive game. Yeah.
It definitely sounds fun. So is the stuff you sent through is you had a whole load of computer generated stuff on that. Is that you've also got the physical stuff? So have you made a video game version and a physical version, or?
Yes.
Cool.
So there's actually three ways to play.
There are three main ways of playing.
Yeah. It was created as initially like Joe, and so I'm the co-creator. It's not all of my work. I've been collaborating on this since it was Joe had the original idea back in 2016, and we worked on it slowly quite a while, and then early in the pandemic, I kind of pulled my finger out and was like, right, let's get this done. And we kind of had like I'll get back to the three forms of playing. I haven't forgotten. we had this kind of, we reached this point where it was nearly good enough to release, right? But it wasn't quite there. And we'd given it some play tests and we tinkered with it, and then we put it to one side because we're both busy people with jobs. And we got like the pandemic hit, and it was like a weird time for everyone. And we had this weird crisis where we're about to release this game. We think it's nearly done, but it's a physical game where you get a bunch of your friends and sit around a table, and we're in the middle of a pandemic where no one can actually see each other. So I said, like, we need to make this digital so you can play it online. There's no point, like, it's hard enough already releasing an indie game and getting anyone to pay any attention on it. Doing it in the middle of a pandemic is mental. No one's going to play it. Right?
No one's going to do monkeys.
So we were like, well, what can we do? And I had to just quit my job. And I was like, well, I have some free time now. I could make a website. So I cracked out the PHP and started making a website. I kind of hand wrote it all in PHP and JavaScript. It just works in a web browser. Guam, getting away with murder's initials, GAWM.link. You can go there. Anyone can go there and play the game for free. The rules are available from Drive-Through. What's it called?
Drive-Through RPG.
Yeah.
Wonderful site.
But the website is just free to use, no accounts, no logons. You can just go create a game, and then you send your friends a URL, and it's got the deck of cards, and you do all the card drawing on the website.
So the website's got the pieces.
Yeah.
And a different way, and then you buy the rule sets. You actually know what you're doing with them.
Yeah. So
that's a really cool idea.
Yeah. The rules come with as a PDF digital download with a printable. This is just normal paper. You just print the rules. You don't have to print, but then you can print the cards and then cut them out. A little bit of craft and scissors, and then you've got a game you can physically play. Or if you're still in lockdown or you're not comfortable, you can go to the website and play it there. So that's two ways to play. The third way to play is Tabletop Simulator, which is it was actually kind of conceived as a VR project, but it's available on Steam. It's not mine. It's not Joe's. It's a Steam product that lets you play any board game that you've got like the digital files for.
It's so good. It is so good.
Tell us more. Tell us more.
I think like Tabletop Simulator has been a lifeline for a lot of people's social lives during the pandemic. Like it's a very cool thing. You can just it's like 20 quid on Steam, but it's often on sale, so you can get it cheaper. And they do a thing where you can send your friend a voucher and get it cheaper. Yeah. And you can add your own games to it through the Steam community thing. So Joe did I pretty much did the website, and Joe did the Tabletop Simulator version, but there's like those two ways of playing digitally. If you've got Tabletop Simulator, then great, you can play it there. You've got like the table and you see your friends' avatars and you put the cards down. It's a very physical, visceral thing. Or you can use the website, which is just a very simple web user interface with.
We've got a question.
I would love to, but like I'm not a video person. Like I haven't got the kind of advertising and production chutzpah to make a successful Kickstarter.
Are you gonna be making a physical copy? I think that a full standard release, as in like physical copies.
Yeah, it would be lovely if I got to the point where there was enough interest. That would be great, but I think you need a little bit of funding to get that started. And this is so like this is quite niche. We sell like maybe 2 copies a month.
Better than I do with mine.
Yeah.
No,
But
that
like,
still sounds consistent. You know?
Yeah, like you need maybe next year I can do like a mail out through Drive Through RPG's website and kind of build a bit of interest from the slow, like kind of getting enough interest in this game is kind of why I'm doing this. So like
cool.
Maybe I'd like to one day. It would be nice to have something that's a bit, but you know, like we made this and we're super proud of what we've done. It's a really fun game, really well thought through. Like, hang on, I'm gonna hold this up, hopefully slowly and carefully enough that the quality comes through. Like it's like
that's really nicely done.
Like the card design is really beautiful.
It is. Yeah,
stunning.
Like the rule book is like a 39-page, but it's really professionally laid out. It's got a set of beautiful photos. Like I say, beautiful photos. I took them.
There you go.
But like,
stop short selling yourself, or we'll release the Moleman.
You've been told.
Like
you'll send the Moleman around.
You've seen, like you saw that you showed the rulebook. Can you show the rulebook again?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the front cover.
Yeah, who designed the back of the cards? Was it yourself?
Let me rephrase that. Probably.
So the back of the cards, these are a vintage playing card that we got off eBay that was old enough that it's out of copyright.
Oh, perfect.
And then we converted it to SVG, so it's a vector format. And yeah, I didn't print. This is like printed on cheap paper because I'm cheap.
It wasn't printed on cardstock because this was the home printable version.
Yeah,
and, you're testing stuff, you're QAing stuff. You don't want to spend lots of money on that.
The good thing is,
she bought me cardstock and I haven't got around to printing it yet.
Right, that was what the ominous ellipses were. The one thing I would say is there are a lot more, and this is to anyone watching going, ooh, bleh. There are a lot more services that will print custom card sets.
That's true.
And they are getting to the point of being, if you bought bulk, as in like 30 or 40 sets, they're getting affordable-ish.
Yeah,
but that's still 30 or 40 sets you've got to have in stock.
Yeah,
so
it's close to being viable for us to do a print run and sell them and not like get ourselves in debt. Yeah. And then like maybe in a couple of years we'll have slowly shifted them all and broken even. And that would be okay because it's not like something I'm doing for the money.
Yeah, it is a commitment though. It is.
Yeah.
And having the space to to keep your stock unless you give it to third party and
there's
so many things to consider with this. Do we
with
want
the RPG?
Do we want kudos? Are we happy to break even? There's so many things when it comes to this independent production line as well.
With the RPG I designed, I got a whole bunch. Thankfully it was purely, it was just a booklet, but I ended up printing about 100 of them, and that took me, oh crikey, I don't know how long to shift, including the first initial batch, which all got lost in the post. So it is that wanting to order every, get the stuff in so you can start getting under people's faces.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I'll print X copies of my comics, but I'll be selling them for years because they're not a particularly popular seller. But you know, I've got the
yeah.
space for those. So, but
Well,
sorry,
if-
Pesky, you were saying.
It's okay. I was just going to say, if you generate enough interest, would you think of doing a Kickstarter? Because that might be a good way of making sure you're not breaking the bank and you have a bit of interest with it.
Yeah, we talked about it. One of the things, like successful Kickstarters, always have like a really good marketing angle. It's really hard if you're not a marketing person and you don't have like video editing skills to come. Like it's very easy to look very unprofessional, and like I'd rather like not do a Kickstarter than do a bad Kickstarter.
It's
like,
also
goal isn't to make money, it's to like it's got a price on it because we think it has value. That's one of the, like, we've had several like pay what you want sales because we want to get it out there, we want people to play it, but it has value, and I don't want to undervalue the work that we've done. There's something rewarding about, and I don't mean like financially, but like emotionally rewarding about like someone paying money for this. They want it enough that they're going to give us a couple of quid.
The expression a chum told me, which I've been using ever since. The sincerest form of flattery is cash. It takes nothing to say thank you. It takes a couple of hours of work for me to give you money. So it's the best content. It's the best. It's the best compliment people could pay you. I don't think there's anything wrong with putting a value on the stuff you're doing. And
Yeah, absolutely.
it is when someone turns. I mean, Laura Story remembers the first time I sold my first badge. I was just like, "Holy crap! Someone else actively values this."
Yeah.
Rather than, it's very easy for people to go, "Oh, that's funny," or "That's great," but for them to actually give you the money.
Exactly. That's the
in
interaction.
something-
That's the key, and that's the love
Yeah.
that comes from. And that's why we do these sections, because it's like absolutely
Love.
appreciate where you're coming from with that. I've never done a Kickstarter personally. I've been making independent comics for years and years and years. The thought of it, you know, you've got to be good at all the things that it's going to throw at you, unexpected things.
Kickstarter
you
is
know.
also, if you do a Kickstarter and you don't reach it, there's a couple of people I know who basically abandon their projects because it's just, nope, right, that's a massive kick in the teeth. I no longer have the ego for it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a comment here I just need to read out. Print on demand, or there are plenty of print shops that will print it big sheets. You can cut them out yourself. If you're thinking of that for mass production, that's said by someone who has not spent 2 weeks before an event cutting out their own bloody items.
Get a team.
Kill you.
Like having an e-commerce site and dealing with dealing with the kind of bureaucratic overhead of having that all set up.
Setting up your own VAT account so you don't get. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people think it's easy, but it's not. There's a lot of intimidation when it comes to it. Like if you've got a friend that who loves doing things like that and you can pay them, fine. But not everybody has that accessibility, that ease. It's no, it is intimidating. And you know, kudos for doing it the way that you feel comfortable doing it as well. And that's 100% valid. And you know, I wish more people would do it that way as well. You know, Kickstarter is not the be all and end all of everything. It's a great platform, but it's not the only answer, and it shouldn't be. So I'm glad. You know, is it available via VR chat actually? Like a virtual version of it. I wonder. It might not work that way, but when I saw the graphics, I wondered whether it was. Cool.
Yeah, I think Tabletop Simulator is a similar platform, but like more specifically for board games to VR. Like I say, it did start as a VR project, but you can just play it on your desktop.
Cool. That looks great. It's nice to see something that's been in development for so long like come to fruition.
How long was the development process?
I guess 4 years, 2016, and then we released. Like we finished, we shipped it in November last year. Like was the release.
That's not unreasonable. That's not unreasonable for a game like that. I mean, I said I did a crappy little game, and that took me. I say crappy. You know, the original concept for this game was a single sheet of A4. very, very rules light thing, and that took year and a half to take from very, very like 4 rules and a concept into a book, and that was with play testing and refining. For something like you've got 4 years of actually trying to get it to a point where, I don't know about you, I was always like, I know exactly how this works, but trying to explain it so people will understand.
Yeah, like
that bit, and trying to get the rule manual to work, that is hell.
Yeah, like there's a lot of extra effort to actually get to finishing. Black Sheep's asking what it's actually like to play. I don't know if you played Fiasco. It's a lot of fun. It's quite silly. Like Fiasco is one of the kind of core inspirations for the structure of the game. We actually, very early on in the project, we were like, can we make a Fiasco playset that is a murder mystery? And we explored that, and basically it doesn't really work as a game of Fiasco because the like who done it element, just we couldn't squid it in, so we made a new game rather than a Fiasco playset. But essentially, like, it's like Amdram. It's like you are improvising a character, and you're playing a scene, and you're kind of like you set the scene by saying like, okay, I'm going to be in the drawing room with Miss Marple, and I will discover this object that's a card from my hand, and I think it implicates her, and she's going to be quite defensive about it, and then like Miss Marple will be another player, right? So I'll be like, okay, and then you act it out. You're like, oh, what is this? The lock picking equipment. Why is this in your handbag, right? And because I've said that, that's like basically makes it true. It is in her handbag, and now the other player has to kind of defend that. And they're like, well, I was preparing a surprise gift for my husband. You know, they get a little bit defensive about it, but they can't kind of untruth the fact they had it. And then all the other players, you have the back and forth, and then you kind of go and see. And you're like, all right, that's over. And then the other players are like, oh, yeah. No, Thad's character seemed really accusatory. Like he was setting her up. It was really unfair, so he's guilty. Or they might be like, oh, that lock picking equipment, super suspicious. Like Miss Marple's guilty.
I have a question. Ginger Sheep made the comment. It's basically an improv murder mystery radio play or dinner theatre. My question off of that is: so is this something you could basically run as a live role play? Because all the pictures you've got have got it on a table. I'm just thinking this could work snappy as a LARP.
Yes. Like I guess
You've
so.
never thought of that. Okay, fine.
Like LARPs are quite
depends on the LARP.
I've only really done one LARP, and like my assumption is LARPing works like this. But
sounds very similar.
The GM, the kind of coordinator for the LARP was like, all right, there's clues in rooms, and different people have different bits of animation and information, and you were like going from place to place and role playing. This is very kind of scene based,
right?
The players, like, you could LARP it, but you kind of like the structure is important to how the game works as well. It's slightly less freeform than I think LARPs are.
Cool.
Answers it.
That's cool. Right. And from that, we go to hats.
Hats!
That's your hat, I believe. Hang on. I'm going to get you. This is harder than it looks.
Andy, get control.
I'm trying, but I'm a finger bashing muppet. Right.
Hats.
Oh,
do you want me to just scroll through all these, or and people ask, or?
You can scroll through them if you want.
Okay. What is this wonderful?
This one is Queen Eclipsa from a show called Star versus the Forces of Evil, which is a fantastic cartoon. I believe it's a Disney, I think.
It is. It's on Disney Plus.
Yes. Which is great up until the end. but I won't say why. So
Oh no! Oh, I'm gonna chat to you after the show about that. 'Cause I haven't got there yet, but what a shame. But
there's
what
a
great
lot of
cosplay, though.
emotions behind that because it has such potential. But I think because the show got cancelled early, they really kind of rushed the end.
Oh, what a shame.
Which is a thing that happens. So with this particular image that Andy is showing, it was my first time making a hat.
How did you make it? Because I remember you wearing that hat, and that was about
it's huge.
It's about
it's
two
huge.
2.5 foot from your head to the brim.
Yeah, I kept bumping into people at Comic-Con
with your hat.
Like, just catch it because it's also got little branches sticking off of it and things, and I kept catching it on stuff and people being like, "Watch where you're going." I was like, "I can't. It's literally on my head."
No.
Actually, I can't.
But I guess now it's the perfect hat for social distancing.
Yeah.
100%.
And I mean, I am a huge fan of hats, and that is just
it was too big for a selfie. Yeah.
At the event we were at, that hat was the hattiest hat that anyone hatted, and it was. How long did it take you to put that hat together? I have to ask.
It was actually most of it was just like hot glue, foam, and I used curtain wire in the frame to help it keep its shape. So like I think I put the hat together in a couple of days pretty quickly because there wasn't any sewing involved or anything like that. It is literally a lot of hot glue, and I'm surprised it's actually still in storage under my bed. I'm surprised it's survived a couple of years.
You've still got the hat. Fantastic.
I still have the hat. I still have the whole costume because it was a fun little thing. My relationship with cosplay has changed a lot. So I got really into cosplay 10 years ago now when I first moved to London and I went to uni and I started like getting into cosplay just for general shenanigans with friends while the cosplay scene was still quite small as well. Like you'd go to Comic-Con and you'd dress up as like there was one time I dressed from shock horror Homestuck and I went to Comic-Con and there was probably like 30 people dressed as Homestuck. Like it was those early days.
Were they the same characters or different characters?
Different characters, yeah.
Oh wow, what a great photo shoot that was, I guess.
Yeah, so those like early days, but like I've definitely noticed within the last 10 years, I've gone through a lot of stuff personally with weight gain and health issues and just general life changes. And with the cosplay scene getting more popular and bigger as well, it's become quite toxic in some ways too. So like I've noticed a huge difference in how people treated me when I was skinny and lazy with cosplay versus me now that I hand make everything, but I'm overweight. And it's like,
wow,
it's a bit of a disconnect.
It's like
and I actually stepped away from cosplay for a couple of years, where I just didn't do anything because I needed to for my mental health. I was getting way too into it, in the sense of like it became important to me how people thought of me, and as someone who like I have a background in theatre, I love acting. Like my main thing about cosplay is embodying the character. One of the cosplays I do these days that's quite popular is Jester from Critical Role.
We'll get on to in a minute.
The little blue tiefling. And I love doing her accent because it's so much fun. And she's very sweet. And I just love doing that. Little bits that really brighten people's day. So like I've got another cosplay that I did, which was Inko, who is
do you want me to bring it up?
Yeah, if you want. Nope, that's Mabel. Nope. That one.
Yay!
Yeah.
I don't know any of these characters.
I know. I was like, I need to name all the files, but even then, I don't know if it transfers on Facebook the same way.
Or maybe not, actually. Maybe he's like the green-haired one.
The green-haired one. And then realised I had two green-haired ones. Yeah, she's the main character from My Hero Academia's mum. And a fun thing in the fandom is the whole. Yes, I will get to the massive Toblerone in a bit.
There will be massive Toblerone.
Like a fun thing with that cosplay was I didn't make anything of it. Like I just bought a wig, I styled it, and the most effort went into the wig. And then I got a t-shirt, I bought a vest from a charity shop, and I wore a skirt. And it was all about my interaction with other cosplayers that made the whole thing, because I knew the main character from My Hero Academia is very popular in the cosplay scene. Lots of people dress up as him. And so I was like, I'm going to carry a whole bunch of sweets on me, like little tiny packets of Skittles and things like that. And every time I took a picture with I can never pronounce the name right, so I'm going to avoid it. Whenever I took a picture with any cosplayer really from My Hero Academia, I would pull a sweet out of my pocket and give it to them. I'm like, okay, now you take care now. And they were like,
oh, they're like, thanks, anime mom.
It is that performance side of it, which I don't think it's essential, but it is something that I am seeing less and less of, and I do really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And seeing people playing that out.
Personally, going to all that effort and then a voice on to get the gist of the character or something. I don't know. I mean, it's up to people, whatever they want to do. Maybe they're there just to show off their sewing skills or whatever. But I do love that extra edge of like, you know, quoting the line or, you know, interacting in that
not saying
parallel
chimichanga.
anime universe. Not saying chimichanga and like playing a saxophone or whatever it is. Oh, it's a tuba, isn't it?
It's that
one the better. Yeah.
I mean, as someone who has not been in the cosplay scene, but who has seen how it has changed and who has observed it, the toxicity element of it is, and definitely the body issue side of it is just.
And now I'm getting older as well. Like a lot of cosplayers are like in their teens, they're really quite young, and I'm of an age now, and even when I first got into cosplay, a lot of the friends I made in the scene were easily 5-10 years younger than me, and I immediately became cosplay mum. I started off in the Italia scene, heaven forbid. The traumatic days. the traumatic days of the Italia scene. And I used to go to meets in London, which were just like non-official meetups of people where we would go to a park, we'd go to Hyde Park or something in cosplay, and we would like have a picnic and just chat and get to know each other and play some games and stuff. And I used to be I wasn't the one who organized it, but I would definitely be the one telling people, okay, you need to watch out for traffic. Don't bother those people over there because they're trying to enjoy their own time. Guys, volume. We're being a little bit loud. And also just helping keep creeps at bay. The number of times where people, especially in the cosplay scene, people let loose and they feel safe, and then they forget that predators are around and that people will take advantage of them.
Both cosplayers and not.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens in every fandom, and it's so upsetting.
Yeah.
It's really so upsetting because you go to these groups as a safe space. You go to meet fellow like minds where there is a huge chance there's no one's going to get what you're into at school.
Yeah.
A lot of my like senpai, my older brothers and sisters, whether it's at an anime convention or a rock club, various scenes, I've always felt looked after. But I have myself come in the path of predators as a teenager, and it angers me so much that it's still a thing.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you know, this should be stomped into the ground, but it's absolutely something.
I miss them too. I don't go anymore, and I miss them all the time.
You missed it. What was that?
The cosplay picnics.
Oh, I know. There'll be so many though.
I think some of the creepiness with, I'm trying to think how to put this. I'm not applying this as a blanket thing, but I think some of it is because people get very, very attached to the characters and they build up their own head canon. Yeah. If they see someone acting as playing as that character, they assume they're going to act in their head canon, and having being well aware of
Everyone.
rule 34, that means people are going to creep, even if they don't necessarily realize they're creeping, because people are creepy. Anyway,
I
Come
don't
on.
think that the proper toxic people need that as a reason, even. But it's good to be
Yeah.
aware. Like
a
you know,
good
the whole-
a good example of
yeah.
people making assumptions as well was
Yeah.
again back when I was in the Italia days. I had a cosplay that got quite popular in the fandom, to the point where I had a Tumblr blog with something like 80,000 followers. It was nuts, and it all kind of spiraled to the point where I was like, it started off with something simple where I had some fans from Germany come to London Comic-Con specifically to meet me, and they brought me birthday presents because they learnt that my birthday had been a couple of weeks beforehand, and I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
This is nuts. And I met them and I went, we're going to spend all weekend together. You do realize that? Like, you've come all this way. I'm now going to like give you a tour of London, and I'm going to make sure you have fun and introduce you to people. And at the same time, like, another popular group from Sweden was there as well, and I made friends with them. And I was like, we're all going to hang out. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be fantastic. I had a person use one of my cosplay pictures and painted it for a project at school.
Wow.
Which then won an award apparently in some high school in America.
That's really
and it's now
cool.
hanging up there. And I'm like, people are going to walk through this hallway and see my face in a pink wig. And I'm like, oh.
Is this blog
There's a
still up,
goal.
or
No. Well, it technically is still up, but it's inactive because I don't have access to it anymore.
Okay.
I lost access to it years ago, and I fell out of love with the fandom and things like that, because like the character that I was portraying within the fandom had a kind of like a headcanon thing. Like it was a non-official character and everything, and like they had this opinion that he was kind of like sweet and innocent, but also murderous. But then people,
which is you?
which is kind of me, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, under the right circumstances. But then people would put a lot of pressure on me to act a certain way, and I was just like,
yeah,
I'm still a person here, and I'm very uncomfortable about the situation.
Yeah.
Please remember that.
yeah, 100%. Wow.
Yeah, like that was nuts. No longer my life, thankfully.
Wow.
Because like I said, like
and the negatives.
there was so much pressure as well. I was just like, I can't understand how people could do this and be
yeah,
like famous.
Not just head canon, but head canon onto an actual person
Mm.
in real life. That's overstepping some boundaries.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
So, but like I said, I fell out, and then I started doing some simple little things for fun, like cosplays for fun, like my Mabel from Gravity Falls, which you'll find in that. Yeah, there you go. You missed it.
There you go. Back one.
Hey!
Grappling
hook!
Grappling hook. And this lovely picture was taken by my friend Jay, who is Race of the Wind photography. I will send a link over to Andy.
So, with this one, how much of the costume? Because it's basically pink headband, pink jersey. How much of the costume did you do? Did you make, or is it just?
I made the jumper from scratch. Sorry, the first link is a
right. I'll shut my mouth then, because I think I basically just said you got it from H&M.
No, I made the entire jumper from scratch. I ordered a bunch of fleece off of just off of the internet, and I went, I'm going to do the thing. And the headband is an actual headband that I've then covered in the same fleece that I made the jumper with, so that's why it's the same color. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it was just a fun cosplay to do, and I still wear it on occasions, and every time I do, I have so much fun.
It looks so comfortable as well.
It's really comfy.
It's
really hot.
Yeah,
It's a lot of fleece.
It's so cozy.
It was because you were wearing it when we were at MCM together, and it was this sense of fun that you exuded, which is very useful for the character because the character is very fun. But it was also just, I don't know, seeing someone having a laugh doing cosplay.
Yeah, and that's what helped me get back in love with it as well, was cosplaying a fun character.
Yeah, there's so much unquantifiable stuff that is so important when it comes to cosplaying. But I mean, at the end of the day, we all do this for fun. And
Yeah.
when you weren't having fun, you were absolutely 100% right to give it a breather, a strategic retreat, as you will.
That's the big thing. It's like, don't put so much pressure on yourself to be perfect or to like appease the crowds, or like just don't think of cosplay as like a way to get rich or anything like that. So many people I know are being like, I'm gonna become famous and I'm gonna like be one of those like cosplay models and stuff like that. I'm like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Rarely happens. You're not like, it's not gonna happen to you.
Gosh. I've got so many things to say about it. It was so good.
As per our a couple of episodes where we basically went, it was amazing. And you've got this armband one.
Yeah, so the armband one is a work in progress with my Jester stuff. So if I got really into D&D over the last couple of years, especially after I moved in with some friends, and one of which used to run a lot of D&D games, and she was like, oh, I want to run a game. And I went, okay, I've never played before and I would like to play. She didn't know I had never played before, and assumed I had. We had a really complex game, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Had a basic bitch character. It was a tiefling warlock, because of course. And I just have fun, and I got really into it. And now I actually run my own game every Friday. I play in 3 other games on a regular basis, and got super into it. And there is a group called Critical Role, who are a bunch of professional voice actors who are all friends. Some are married to each other, who get together and play D&D, and they started streaming it years ago, and it blew up, absolutely blew up on the internet. They've got a huge following now. So I have, if you want to show one of the Jester pictures.
Oh, let's just do it.
Wrong blue one. But yeah, nope. There. I love that one.
That is.
Yeah. So I have.
I'm just gonna bring that picture up because I want people to see that makeup.
It's full glory.
So
because that is you've got what 3 or so shades of blue on there, and then you've got the freckles on there.
Yeah.
And the blush.
And the blush, and then you've got the pink blush. And just how long did it take you to?
Contouring. I'm seeing this blue contour down the cheek.
How
well.
long did it take you to do this makeup? Because that is amazing.
Yeah, it took probably to do all of it probably about an hour, less than an hour, I would say. I've gotten to a point where I've gotten quite quick because I just do my face. So my hands and my arms I don't need to do, because I wear essentially tights that have been sewn into gloves. Literally what I'm wearing there is a pair of tights with the crotch cut out. And the feet have been sewn into fingers.
Fantastic.
And there's fake nails put on it, so it looks a bit more realistic.
Because that does look like your hand.
Yeah, I know. And that way, when I was at cons and stuff, like I helped you out, Andy, on your table, I wasn't leaving blue face paint everywhere because I didn't have any on my hands.
Only an hour to do that makeup is... I'm not trying to get gushy or anything, but that is spectacular.
It's mostly the face paint, getting the base layer on is the biggest hurdle, and then everything else, like... It's pretty quick.
I used to play Drow, so I know how long that takes.
This photo shoot this was taken from was not last November, but the November before. A group of friends of mine, we all met up in North Wales because we were doing a charity D&D stream where we played D&D for 24 hours straight. We did take regular breaks, and unfortunately I came down with a terrible cold, and I was dying the entire time. So there were times where they're like, we're going to take a 10-minute break, and they would go back and be like, Kat's taking a nap because she's dead. And I was like out for half an hour or so. I was just taking a nap on an air mattress upstairs on the floor, like so with this photo shoot, I got up at like 5:30, 6 in the morning. to do my makeup and everything, and then we headed down to the beach for sunrise to get these beautiful like beach photos.
Oh, good
And it was
amazing.
icy. it was
This
it was
shot,
very slippy.
That photo, cold
this
bottom.
shot,
I know.
I absolutely adore this shot. 'Cause this is a really good shot.
Yeah.
It's gonna sound.
These photos were taken by my lovely friend Laurie Behrman. I think it's actually Behrman, but I'm terrible at pronunciation. Laurie knows that. I know she's watching right now. She's going to tell me off later. But she is a brilliant photographer. She mostly does landscapes and stuff. She was really interested in getting taking pictures of portraits and people. So we did cosplay pictures. And she's got some...
I'm trying to think how to word it. A lot of cosplay pictures look like cosplay photos.
Yeah.
As in, here's a photo of someone in cosplaying. This is cosplay.
Yeah.
Whereas this photo definitely is a photo of someone.
Yeah.
It's a lot more in the moment and real, even though you know, blue hair and blue face and all that. So I just, as a photo, I just think it's adorable. This one may be a little bit more set up. What is happening here?
He's T-posed.
I am aggressively T-posing. Like I said, I was dying of a cold all weekend. I was high on so much medication. It was ridiculous. But also, I think it's important when you do photo shoots is to have fun. And so, like, that's why I sent you the donut picture, and this picture is like examples of I'm sometimes one of the worst people to take on photo shoots because I will be derpy as fuck. If I can say the F word on...
Yeah, we don't give a fuck.
I don't know. So, like, I climbed down onto this tiny little, like, dry patch of land on this... I won't even call it... It's not a river, it's a stream. Just to aggressively T-pose. And then my friends on the bridge had to help me climb out because I couldn't get out without falling in the water.
Worth it. Worth
So
it.
worth it.
Totally worth it.
Yeah.
And, like...
You're in the Shire. It's such a beautiful area for a pose.
We went to like these castle grounds in North Wales. I can't remember what it was called, to be honest. And that T-pose. And we asked permission first. It's always very important to ask permission because we understand that, like, not everyone is... You're going to a public place, like, not everyone's cool with you taking photos and... But, like, it was mostly woodland, and then they had these, like, lovely bits of, like, this bridge, and there was these tiny little buildings that were almost dilapidated, but, like, not. And there was a manor, but it was being under construction, so we couldn't go in, and we were like, damn. Oh. But it was so much fun. Absolutely so much fun. And we plan on doing more shoots when we can.
Absolutely.
We were meant to do one last year, but yeah.
But when we can, I think that energy of finally being able to do this cosplay.
It's no one's going to be at home for a month.
Yeah, like we did that shoot in the castle grounds like 4 hours, like a couple hours after doing 24-hour D&D. And
so
I
you were all
still
high
dying.
as balls.
I was dying of a cold, and like I started eating the donut because I brought it as a prop, and I just got hungry. So I started eating my props.
Sugar made world go round. So, talk us through this massive Toblerone.
You deserve it.
Is there any context available?
Yes. So, if anyone remembers, on Netflix there used to be. Well, I think it's still on there.
I think it's still there.
Yeah. Jaden Smith anime.
Neo Yokio.
Yeah.
I have bagged on that so much.
Yet you still loved it in a really bagliardy kind of way. It's like you love to bag on it. Like I hold it in high regards because it's so ridiculous. And yeah, so this character.
It was a dreadful show, but it was bad to the point of it being good again.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. It was such a passion
Yeah.
project, and they did not give a shit, did they?
Yeah, and it was during a time where I was still kind of out of love with cosplay, and then I watched it and went, you know, it would be funny if I dressed up as that one character that dunked on Jaden Smith's character all the time, and he kept telling her she didn't deserve this giant Toblerone, but what if I made a giant Toblerone? And I had a bunch of cardboard. So I made a giant Toblerone, realized while I was making it that I didn't know how to do the actual Toblerone sign. So I did Illuminati sign instead.
Yeah, I spotted that.
and then put all of my tags on the bottom. So you can see it actually shows my Instagram page.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
In the
So if
red.
people took sneaky pictures, they knew who I was. And I actually did have a friend who also cosplayed as Jaden's character. So we did like a mini photo shoot at one point. I don't have any pictures of it, unfortunately. But it was quite funny. We were standing around and people were like, oh, can we take a picture of him with the Toblerone? And I'm like, yeah, just keep in mind that's my handle.
Yeah, that's true.
Steal their traffic. Doesn't matter. Steal their traffic.
Still all the traffic.
We got one more now. The great. This one.
Yeah. So this isn't actually cosplay at all. This is LARP. So
I thought so.
another thing that I have started to do, which has helped with rekindling my love for cosplay, is, and also a different kind of channel, is LARP. I started going to Empire after a friend of mine from the cosplay community was like, please come, you'll love it. And I went during one of the muddiest weekends they'd ever had.
That would be all of them.
It was nicknamed the Mudpocalypse. It was so bad. And I was in this cramped tent with like 4 people who all snored. And I was just like, it's cold, it's wet. I didn't bring a cloak with me, but I had a blast regardless. And I still go. We're disappointed we haven't had LARP in like 2 years now, essentially.
Yeah.
Because I was meant to be at LARP this weekend.
Oh,
Yeah. But it obviously is cancelled. We're hoping to get our July event at least, but we might not get any until September.
Yeah.
I think it will happen this year. That sort of thing.
We're hoping.
Outside,
Yeah.
decent weather,
Yeah.
social distancing, if people can. You can do some medieval masks or
Yeah.
something. I don't know. There's got to be a way. Come in.
But
and
LARP
do
has
this.
been fun.
Yeah.
LARP is. I do miss the costuming side of LARP. I've never had the spark because I kind of look at cosplay a lot of the time, and I'm like, what would I play from the technical side? It's why I love talking to. It's why I love talking to cosplayers about the costuming side, because it's some of the stuff is just on a mechanical level. It's just like, fucking, how did you make this animated thing real? Because that is spectacular.
I mean, I can show you the giant lollipop that I made.
Yes. Right. Okay. You could. How long have you known me? What do you mean? I could know you. Oh, that's lovely. That's brilliant.
It's my spiritual weapon. Well, Jess's spiritual weapon from Critical Role, and it lights up as well.
Oh my
Amazing.
Yeah.
god!
It is
cool.
hefty.
That is serious. That's serious weight.
What was that made from?
It's mostly foam. So I got these foam jigsaw floor mats off of like Aldi. I know they're meant to make those kind of like safe to play for kids kind of flooring, but I glued like 3 or 4 of them together, carved them into this, embedded like a pipe holder into the bottom, and just inserted a big pipe, just a PVC plastic pipe into it, and then covered it in paper mache and gave it a good old paint, and then a spray paint with some gloss as well to give it that bit of a shine.
Carrying mat is the greatest invention known to cosplayers. That and pipe flagging. It's lovely to know that because you had some bad experiences with that community. It's wonderful to know that just wanting to do it again rekindled your love for it.
Yeah, it's more of a case of like having to accept that I'm not doing it for anyone else. And taking that as part of, I don't have to be popular, I don't have to be well known, I don't do it for money, I don't do it for fame, I don't do it for anything other than the fact that I'm a huge nerd and I enjoy it.
That's pretty much the Bunkerzilla ethos. So
Yeah, 100% with you on
and it's
that.
it's what the Super Fortress does. So do
It's an
stuff for
important
love of
life
it.
lesson.
Yeah, totally. Plus, if you have been awake for 24 hours playing D&D and die from a cold, a donut will keep you going through the photo shoot. So that's another
Magical
important life
donut.
lesson.
There we
People
go.
really should just take the
Blessed
wisdom
be
of
my
these shows.
donut.
Always bring snacks.
Always bring snacks.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're coming up to time. Have you two enjoyed your visit to the Super Fortress?
Oh, it's been loads of fun. Thanks so much for having us.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
No
thank you for
worries.
having
So
me.
much
The
for
more
joining us,
people, if
though.
you've had, do you have anything you want to plug before you disappear? Either now, speak now or send it to me in an email so I can make it look like we did it pro when this goes up on YouTube. Call's yours.
The only thing I'm plugging, I've already spoken about at length.
Yep.
Oh,
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Cool.
I just would say thank you to the wonderful photographers from some of the pictures that I've taken, and obviously plug their work. So Race the Wind Photography and Laurie Behrman as well. She's available on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram under the same name. So definitely check out their stuff. They're both fantastic in what they do.
Fantastic. Okay, the Mole Men will see you on the way out. Have a wonderful time. I'll speak to you soon.
Stay safe. Bye.
So that's another month down.
Oh, that was great. I always feel really energized after these,
I know,
like-
so do I. It's
Yeah.
lovely to see people having done a thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yes, before we disappear, I need to give a big bunker shout out to the Bunkerzilla Gold Patreons, one of whom is here, which is Alayoko, is great. The other one who is not here, which is Harriet. Bunkerzilla, which is what we're side launching off this, is a wonderful setup. We do all these great shows. We need some cash. You can sponsor the channel or even this very show. Just go to Patreon, look out for Bunkerzilla UK. I am going to be back on Wednesday at 8 p.m. for the big stomp of April. That will be right here. Trash or Treasure is every Thursday. That's over at the Bunker on Discord. What did we watch this week? We watched Voyage of the Rock Aliens, and that was hilarious. And the week before, what was the week before? That was Zombie Virus on Mulberry Street, which was awesome. It's going to be a new month, so I'll be bringing even more stuff from the arse end of absolutely nowhere. And also join the Stomping Grounds on Facebook and keep an eye out for exciting news about my next project coming soon. I wonder what that could be. Right. Eagle Stomp. I want to see you on the Big Stomp. Join us at the Big Stomp. It's me, 3 other nerds. We talk about news stories from the month, and we really want people in the peanut gallery there. So it'll be awesome. Rah! Give you lots of rahs. PinkAppleJam, you have things to shill.
I do, and this arrived this morning. So this beautiful graphic novel, Fate doesn't equal Destiny. Sorry, there is a way of actually pronouncing it. Fate equals not Destiny. Sorry, there we go. This is a UK independent graphic novel by artist Dawny Chan. Just going to put some links in.
I'll hit the button for you.
Fine. So this huge graphic novel is available for a tenner, £2.50 postage, super cheap on Dawny's Etsy. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. It looks absolutely stunning. So well done, Dawny. Dawny's been producing this comic for well over a decade now, like 12 years or something. And we met at a convention many years ago. And I'm so happy to just see it all completed. Beautiful. It's going to sit amongst all my other books. So yeah, if you like your shoujo art, your girls comics, it's kind of like gothic and Lolita fashion. Yeah, give it a go. So check out Dawny's stuff online.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's available to read on Tapas for free as well. So if you want to support the paperback, you can buy it from Dawny on Etsy. And I've got another streamer. She is in the chat. Chai is in the chat. So Chai is an indie artist, and Chai works on kawaii work, positivity, inclusivity. Streams include cute animals, banter, general Britishness, and feel good jams. And I've joined Chai on a number of streams.
And Chai is awesome.
welcoming place. Sorry, Andy, what was that?
No, I was saying Chai's awesome.
Chai is awesome. So yeah, Chai's there for good vibes, taking our meds, and for enjoying some nice line art.
Controversial comment.
So yeah, grab yourself a follow on Chai's. Sorry, I've got up so tired, and words are like.
It's all good.
Yes,
It's all good.
It's all good. So yeah, drop Chai a love because Chai is deserving of much love. So it's been great to see you in the words are hard. They are so hard. You guys.
Word hard.
Yeah, so follow Chai and check out graphic novels and follow Bunkerzilla because I'm quite terrified about Andy's next project, to be honest. So give me some moral support, please.
Terror is always a good sign. So
Keeps us
from
going.
everyone at the Super Fortress, our wonderful fortress against, well, just our wonderful Super Fortress, I have been the Raggedy Man.
And I've been PinkAppleJam. Thank you so much.
We will see you here last Saturday of next month. So everyone, stay safe, stay well, be excellent to each other. Bye.
Bye. Take care. Bye.